great performance. Yeah, really nice.
Thank
yeah.
you.
I like the fact you gave her like a sense of humour, that sort of early chuckling thing and all that. It was so very, sweet, because often in sci-fi
Yes.
you can play it down and down.
Takes itself too seriously.
Do the robot.
Kevin Rice.
Beautiful. State-of-the-art a sequel to a very, very iconic film. It's your first kind of, big leading role. I know you've done a lot of work before. I don't know whether you got the sweats over a movie like this, or whether you felt, well, that's Joseph's job, or that's, other people's job.
No, I think we were all pretty, nervous going into it, because we knew we were all trying new things for the first time. It was every department really being ambitious. The camera department was using the most evolved, advanced 3D camera that had ever been used, a whole generation beyond the one used in Avatar. The wardrobe department was making suits that had electroluminescent lamps running throughout the rubber. I mean, they were light sculptures. That had never been done before. Visual effects, was creating a digital character. I mean, Clue wasn't there on the day. It was Jeff Bridges wearing this enormous motion capture rig. That was very ambitious. So everyone was kind of electric in their pride, but also their kind of anxiety over, are we doing something impossible? Is this going to work? And so when I saw the film for the first time, I was just so happy, because I thought, oh good, it works.
I know you said that your character Cora isn't just isn't just a sexy vixen. That this sort of very rare bird, this rubber-clad fembot on a mission. You mentioned Joan of Arc was one of the sort of thoughts you had in your head. Were there many kind of reference points for you that you could kind of bring into it, because you do a wonderful performance here, and I think it's certainly outside of what I expected, basically, which is a nice thing.
That was the idea. I knew that it would be easy to play her. It's just, as you said, the vampy temptress of the Tron world. It would be simple to do that. I think with another creative team, that may have been how she ended up. But I knew that the suit was doing the job of sexiness for her. Inside, she could be anything. She could be quirky, strange, curious, and intelligent. And so Joan of Arc was the main reference for me. I really found that to be helpful, because trying to combine the idea of a warrior and a child was very difficult for me until I discovered this reference. I was reading Mark Twain's book about Joan of Arc, which is one of my favorite books of all time, and it clicked for me. I thought, oh my God, this is Cora. She is, driven by compassion and selflessness. She's connected to a higher power. She is incredibly brave and willing to sacrifice herself for her cause. And she's a child. And this was Cora. And so I thought, great, if I stick to this, I can figure her out. I was also studying a lot about Buddhism, because I knew that, Kevin Flynn in the story would be teaching Cora a lot about spirituality. She mentions in the film he's trying to teach me about the art of the selfless. And I think that, she's naturally quite a selfless and compassionate being, but learning about spirituality is something that's an interesting concept for Cora, considering the fact that she's not human. But I had a lot of fun kind of making the Buddhist references. Cora has what they refer to in Buddhism as the beginner's mind, just a constant appreciation for all things, as if seeing them for the first time. And so it was a fun process putting this all together.
Jeff is Buddha, by the way. It's just in
I do.
Hollywood form. I've little time, so I know that your parents, Andrew and Leslie, they're journalists. You grew up amidst having people like Christopher Hitchens and Mick Jagger over for dinner. So I'm guessing this sort of success with House and the Black Donnellys, you've had quite a run, but now moving up again with this, you're probably not starry-eyed, I would imagine. I think you'd probably feel less likely to be Alice in Wonderland than maybe somebody else might be stepping into this.
I do. I don't know, because I grew up very far from Hollywood, from the entertainment community, so it's still kind of a mystery to me, but I like that. I like that I'll always be sort of an outsider, because I think that coming from a very different world gives me a unique perspective. I'm aware that, this world is very strange and this attention is very fleeting, but I'm appreciative of my moment here, and I'm having such a good time as an artist. And, I think my training in Ireland was very, very instrumental in my success, and I think what I learned most from Irish actors is a sense of humility and a sense of understanding that this is just a craft and this is just what we do, and there's nothing more special about it than anything else, but telling stories is an important part of society. So I'm happy to be among these artists.
And you know that all your sexiness and talent and charm and all that comes from the Irish connection, just so you know
I
that.
think so.
Just in case you were curious, I wonder where all this came from. How am I this lucky? It's the Irish gene.
I agree.
The notion too that nearly everybody in your family is politically active, and they've connected to various different websites, and they've always sort of had that sort of part of the family. Your decision to sort of go to a different area in acting, and of course you can be political within acting, you can reach a lot of people and tell them a lot of things. But was that a surprise? And you sort of, I don't know how you'd say to them, well, I want to talk to Rob Schneider about the Middle East. I feel he has something to offer here.
I think they've always been supportive from the very, very beginning, and I think as long as I worked hard, they were always going to be. But I do know that journalism is in my blood, and I'll always write on my own. Maybe one day I'll write professionally, but I appreciate the kind of analytical mind that I was brought up to have. It's very helpful in my own work. But they from the very beginning knew that I was bound for the stage, and they've led me there in a very, very helpful way.
Two very quick questions. I know you took your surname from Oscar Wilde, and I was thinking that Olivia Jane Cockburn does suggest a totally different kind of actress. So maybe
it's pronounced Coburn.
Coburn. It sounds so much better, Cockburn, in my mind for some reason.
It's Scottish.
Coburn.
You should know.
Scottish. You see, I'm Irish. I don't really follow
You don't want to know about the Scots.
But also, just I guess from the point of view of having everybody hope for a wonderful life, and certainly you've had wonderful things happen in your life, and one of them would be marrying a guy who's an Italian prince. He's also a documentary maker. He plays what is it, flamenco guitar. You sure he's for real? He could be a plumber from Idaho or something like that. It's all checks
Even
out.
if he were a plumber from Idaho, I'd still love him.
That's good to know, because that just sounds like a perfect fairy tale.
Aww.
Last thing, the next up, have you got anything in particular that you're very excited about? Because you seem quite a busy woman.
Yes, well, Cowboys and Aliens comes out in July. I'm really excited to show that to the world. It's just brilliant. It's such a fun movie. And I'm working on a movie called The Change Up right now with Ryan Reynolds and Jason Bateman. It's a really funny movie. And I did a movie called Now with Justin Timberlake. That'll come out in September. And I did a movie called Butter with Jennifer Garner, and that will hopefully come out this spring.
Have you slept at all in the last year?
No, I'll sleep at Christmas.
Rock and roll.